Looking to enhance the appeal and performance of your gym with state-of-the-art equipment? Look no further than the Gym Administrator. Founded by Sal Corrente, professional wrestling manager, promoter, and author of the great book Bruno Sammartino, the autobiography of wrestling's living legend, available on Amazon.com, the Gym Administrator will spot you on that final rep and assist you every step of the way from purchase through installation, whether it be strength training, cardiovascular training, or performance enhancement. The Gym Administrator works with a wide array of leading vendors and suppliers, carefully selected to meet the diverse needs of your clientele. Service the way you remember it. Contact us at 914-494-1066 or visit our website at thegymadministrator.com, as well as all social media platforms. The Gym Administrator. All your fitness needs under one roof. Scan the barcode at the bottom of the screen to get started today.
Welcome to Thursday night and This Week in Pro Wrestling with your host, Monte and the Pharaoh. Jimmy, I see you. Do you see me? Can you hear me?
Monte, can you hear me?
A little who. I like it. I like it a lot.
Hey, what's going on, man? Just here in happy-go-lucky Florida.
I hear you. I was just thinking as we were talking and we were on delay, Jimmy, you said to me, I wish it was 1983 again. We could go back and life was so much easier. Did you really mean that, though? Oh,
Yeah,
was it just you
cool?
was it just you being like angry Jimmy for the moment?
No, I'm happy-go-lucky. What are you talking about? I'm happy-go-lucky. No, it just would be really cool if we could go into it. Yeah, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. You know it's very funny, very funny.
Yeah, there you go.
No, wait a minute, guys. Hold on.
Go ahead.
You called me today. You got the script, and you said, "Do not fucking talk about it," and I'm not.
That's all I said.
But no, but you know, and then you reel it out there with the pole. All right, go ahead. Anyway, go ahead. So 1983.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
a little, Mike. I gotta tell you, you're right. A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
You got something. You got something there. A little bit.
Catching minnows.
What did?
Hey, Abe said Bernard says the audio's kind of low. Thank you. Go ahead.
Fixing it. What's up, Abe? Wouldn't it be cool though? You've called me plenty of times, like, man, I really miss those days when we used to watch it on USA Network in the middle of the night on summer vacation. We were just talking about the summer of MTV. Wouldn't it be great just to go into a time portal just for a day and experience a day like in the old pool in the old backyard with the MTV just getting started? It's August. It's 1982. Yeah, that would be cool.
Bro, if you sent me back to 1982, I wouldn't want it to be a day. Remember that Twilight Zone episode where they all get the chance to be young? I think it was Scatman Crothers. I think it's I think it's the Twilight Zone movie. So for the younger audience out there, you probably did have the opportunity to see it. But Scatman Crothers gets all these old people from an old age home, and for one day they get to be young again. And one guy goes, "Screw this! I'm staying this way," and he leaves. Right, the English guy. That would be me, man. I would not come back.
Right. Wow, I'm amazed you remembered that from now. Twilight Zone, the movie, that's like almost an afterthought in the history of Twilight Zone. That was not a bad movie. Didn't Hal Holbrook die making that film?
Was it Hal Holbrook, or was it who's the guy? He got his head cut off by a helicopter. Him and two children.
I think
right?
I got the first name right. I don't think it's Holbrook.
Yeah, I don't think it's Holbrook, right?
I think I just saw Holbrook as Gemma's father on Sons of Anarchy. Never mind. But it was a house. Oh God, forgive me. But an actor passed away. No, Vic Morrow.
Dick Morrow, very good. Nice job, buddy.
There we go.
Nice work. Who needs Google when you got the Pharaoh, dude? Right?
Dude, just give me a minute. I was boy, was I off though? I didn't even have the initials.
No, but so
right.
Dick Morrow and the two kids that were doing the Vietnam thing, a helicopter flipped over and cut all three of their heads off.
Right, it was not good. Nope. That was a decent movie. Wasn't the beginning of that with Aykroyd, where he went and pulled that? Dude, that was
all right.
Little
trivia.
Yeah,
What song is playing when it's Aykroyd and who's the comedian?
I'm not going to remember.
The Jewish comedian. He's awesome. One of the great comedians of all time.
Right.
But anyway, what song is playing in the car?
I don't remember.
I'll give you a hint.
What?
Bad
Company?
No, Bad. Name of the song. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bad.
Oh, Bad Moon Rising.
There you go, buddy. Nice job.
Oh, okay. Well, Bad Moon Rising, I think, was also an American Werewolf in London. I could be wrong about that.
Dude, by the way, that's been on cable a lot lately, and I keep forgetting that guy's claim to fame was a Dr. Pepper commercial. You remember that?
Right.
God
yeah.
Damn, we're old.
American Werewolf in London is a great film. If nobody, for those of you who've never seen it, that movie was somehow managed to be very scary in some scenes and very funny in others.
Jason Morning is right. I'm wrong. I led you down the wrong road. Thank you, Jason. Midnight Special. It's a Midnight Special, and
right.
It's Brooks, not Jason. It's not Alan Brooks. It's good God,
Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks. Thank you.
I know you're talking
Let
about.
the Midnight Special. Nice.
When you wake up in the morning. There you go.
Yeah, nice. Good stuff.
That's some great stuff. Yeah, it was.
So Jimmy,
excellent.
before we get into some wrestling talk, we were talking earlier this week. We were just talking about when we were younger and when we used to hang out and kind of telling the stories of just like growing up and things like that. And Jimmy, you want to tell a story that you actually swung a bat a week and a half ago or so, right? You were quite the softball player, and you got to swing the bat a bit.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could still hit a ball. So basically, I did. I was able to just walk up and take a swing, and it was pretty interesting. It's nice to know I still have hand-eye coordination.
Wait a minute, I got another comment just shocking the hell out of me. Matt Sharkey, always good one. Jennifer Jason Lee is Vic's daughter. I had no clue about that. Now I have to look that up too. You know who Jennifer Jason Lee is, right?
Probably not the way you would. You probably name a bunch of movies. I can't associate.
You know her from Fast Times, right? Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is Sean Penn and Mr. Hand to me, and I guess Phoebe.
Phoebe Cates. Phoebe Cates, yeah.
Right.
Phoebe Cates married like an old guy, man, like a real old guy. How come like? Well, you're married. You just got married, so you're a newlywed. But like, how come I can't hook up with some like? Well, what am I? 57 now, so 57. How about a 37-year-old? 37 seems okay, right?
I don't like the math.
Why?
I don't like the odds.
Fuck the math, bro.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because the younger generations, it's almost a little. Look, I've always preferred somebody who has more experience than me.
Really?
All right.
Why?
In life.
Why?
Yeah, in life. Because a partner should not just be an object. A partner should be somebody you can go to with life issues.
Listen, the chat's pretty good here, dude. I just got to interrupt you. So Jason's like, Phoebe Cates married a billionaire. He's wrong, but Benny jumped in. He was right. He said, no, it's Jamie Gertz married a millionaire. You remember Jamie Gertz from Lost Boys?
Okay.
Hot as hell, bro. Hot as hell. One of the hottest girls. She's like one of the most richest women in the world right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, back to why you wanted more experienced women.
Just how about more experienced person? Period. somebody who's been through more than I have, and someone who knows more about life than I do. When you have someone younger than you, and if you're talking about a gap that big, they're not going to have the same. They weren't brought up the same way you were. It's going to be a lot harder, bro. It's going to be a lot harder for you, most likely. That's just my opinion.
I think in my mind,
there's exceptions to it.
I think in my mind, I want something different, but in reality, dude, at this point in my life, I think, like I said, I think I could live in an apartment with a dog and just work, come home, make myself dinner. But the only thing is, it has to be warm. Like I know you're not having a good time in the heat in Florida right now. It's hot up here in New York, but it's like, bro, I'll take the heat way before the winter. I can deal with the heat. You know what I'm saying? In fact, when we're done with our 2 shows tonight, I get my dog, because he's older now, so I don't like to bring him out in the hot. So I'll bring, we'll do like a night walk. I'll bring my flashlight and I just put my fucking headset on and blah 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 blah.
You just want peace of mind. You're no different than anybody else, dude. You got to do what makes you happy.
Let me ask you this question. Now we're just talking about it, right? Life's changing. You and me have been doing this, 4 or 5 years, yeah?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you know how I am with numbers.
Give me the numbers.
Here's the amazing thing. Yes, on YouTube, we haven't even approached the 4-year mark. We're getting to the 4-year mark soon.
Right.
Okay, on YouTube, right?
Uh-huh.
But we've been doing this starting when November comes of this year. We've been doing this since 2017. So that makes it 7.
So we were just breaking the 50 mark when we started this, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I had actually you had just turned 50, and so did I, basically.
So again, you and me are both pretty temperamental guys, right? So
no, you're happy-go-lucky.
Are you? You keep going to the well, dude.
Well, you are.
You're
happy-go-lucky.
You keep pushing, it's gonna come out. I'm just gonna tell you right now, and I'm trying to obey your wishes.
I don't know that, by the way. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you enjoy this as much as you did in the beginning?
Do I enjoy this as much
Full
as
honesty.
I did?
Full honesty, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know me. I'm going to give you a truthful and a deeper than the question kind of answer.
Good.
There have been, and I know you'll agree with me, there have been peaks and valleys in this journey, and we both know that, right? So when things are going great, love it, probably just like you do. When some shitstorm comes along or something like that creates, a shift and a change or whatever we got to deal with because of circumstances or assholes, that's when we don't. You know what I'm saying? So do I currently enjoy it? Oh, hell yeah. I mean, look at some of the interviews we've had recently. They've been fantastic. They've been great, legendary names, Have we done some funny stuff, too, along the way like we always did? Spirit Box. Great stuff. Hilarious. Hilarious. So, yeah, there's peaks and valleys, but it comes with the territory, right? We've had our times where we've been like, this is the greatest thing. I love doing this. And we've had other conversations where it's like, oh, my God, did you see what this idiot did?
Well,
God.
The reason I ask you that, right, because as life goes on and the older we get, right, again, I don't ever listen, you've had a life-altering experience. You almost lost your life due to a medical condition. God bless that you made it through. I've had my issues as pretty well documented, right?
Correct.
So I don't ever want to feel, what's the right word, Jimmy? Like not, help me out. I've been drinking a Budweiser, so. I want to be grateful, right? I want to be grateful. I am grateful for everybody that tunes in every Thursday and on our special shows. I'm grateful for the emails that we get on the website or maybe on a messenger on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever else you go. But we had the great Don Tony. I'm going to say the great Don Tony because I really want to make this clear in this world of podcasting, broadcasting, whatever. I try not to call us a podcast. I really just don't think we are. But, we get thrown into that bucket. But there's true talent out there. Like, I always believed that I knew talent. So, again, guys, appease me on this conversation. We're coming out of 4th of July and you're looking for wrestling talk. But you know how we get sometimes. So, when I met Jimmy, I was telling a story to Benny. Jimmy was one of the, again, you remember something. I was a kid, teenager, jock, maybe. You know what I mean? I'll tell you what, I was a great athlete. I don't want to call myself a jock because I didn't live and breathe sports either.
Nor did you hang around them on a regular basis.
Right. But as athletic gifts, I would say I was pretty high level. But that's not the point. I'm not trying to. I'm kind of digressing.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
but you were.
I met Jimmy, and Jimmy was one of the most talented human beings I'd ever met from his music. And I'm talking way before he was a rock star or whatever else. And the interesting story for people who don't know, Jimmy used to write a dirt sheet way back before, I would almost say when PWI was just like 8 years old or 5 years old.
No, it wasn't. It was actually in its infancy. Mike, not to scare you with the years and stuff, but PWI was less than 2 years into its existence.
But I knew it. I knew it was fairly new because you and me started getting magazines like later on.
Right.
So that's a true story. So I always felt like I understood and knew talent. Like I think in my real life, in the job, I know when someone's talented. I just know. And Don Tony and Kevin Castle, before we even started doing this, and again, they're a bit younger than us. And when I mean a bit younger, I'd say 5, 6 years old. I knew I could hear the talent these guys are. And then you listen to other people and you go, these guys suck. These guys are good. You whatever. And again, I'm not this big podcaster watcher, but I listen to people. In fact, before we ended up doing the play of Benny, I listened to the Dan and Benny show, and the reason I listened to them because they were different from everybody else, right? They didn't have the same guests that Hannibal has and we have and all that other bullshit, right? They had these kind of inner workings people, which I always found amazing too. But anyway, the point is, as this gets thicker for me and I see more and more shows go out there, and I think to myself, Jimmy, and I got to be honest with you, and I'll talk to the people out there too, I'm a bit annoyed. It's hard for me. Like, I go to myself, do I think we're good at what we're doing because it's me? And I don't want to admit, like, I'm looking at through rose-colored glasses, or because I hear the shit out there. And, Jimmy's constantly yelling at me because I'm constantly complaining because I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Bernard says he actually discovered this show through Don Tony. Bernard, we're glad, by the way, we are glad to have you aboard, and I'm glad that you enjoy the show. It's very cool. It's very cool. But I listen to the shit out there, man, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand how someone can sit and listen to this. Now, I understand everybody's got differences, you know what I mean? But I will tell you, it's harder for me to have fun here when we do this because it's really aggravating me. It's really eating me up. You and me put a lot of time into this, man. You said this a couple of months ago. Any money we've made, right? We've went and sold sponsors, right? Any kind of social media money we have, we've put it back into the show, right? We don't charge people to listen to us or anything else, right? We wanted to kind of give people an outlet to be able to, ask questions as stars or whatever else, give that opportunity. But I got to tell you, Jimmy, it bothers me. I don't know if it bothers you. You never really tell me if it does or not.
Well, when we discuss when you're feeling the way you feel, the way you just described it, to the audience at home, I'll share something. I was concerned when we first started doing this show for my friend, because I had been in the entertainment, but this is entertainment, right, Mike? This is the entertainment business, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, we're doing episodic television. We're not doing, the same set thing every week after week. You never know what you're going to get when you tune in with us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I had been in the entertainment business for years and had stood at the front door of a major record label, I've had 2 very successful bands as far as, look, when you conquer your state, you've done something, and that was the case, especially in War Dance's case, where we had conquered everything around us and we're at the front door of a record label. I know what it's like in this business. When you go into an entertainment, thing, you are telling the odds, I'm going to ignore you because the odds are absolutely against you. I'll never forget when we landed Eddie Kramer as a producer, and I reached out to my parent, and I couldn't wait to tell them that I had landed Eddie Kramer. She said to me, "Let me know when there's a hit, because it's very, very difficult what we're trying to accomplish here." So I was actually afraid for Mike. Like, oh God, he doesn't realize what we're getting into with the backstabbing and the manipulating and all the people that are going to come across you, and they're going to present themselves like they could do this for you and that for you and this for you and that for you. I'm like, oh God, back into the land of the bullshit artists. As a person of experience with that, that's what I was afraid of, you know. But the only advice that I've always given you, Mike, is that know the odds. If you know you've got something good, aggressively pursue those who you think can actually get you to a front door. Everybody else is just giving you false promises, and watch out for everybody. But Mike knows this anyway. Right, Mike?
No,
I mean,
I know
at
it.
the end of the day.
RJ, thank you for the kind compliments. No, I do understand it, man. But again, it's such an up and down thing. Like, we do an interview and we'll get emails and you feel good and everything else. And then you turn around and you you put on some schmuck show for whatever reason. It comes across your feed. And again, like, here's the deal, dude. See, I don't know if you can see it here. I'm putting on my phone, right? So I'll put my phone down. I'm doing work. It's playing YouTube. I'm just listening. I'm not watching. And then when something's over, it moves to something else. And you always run into some fucking bullshit. And you're like, I don't. And then you look and you go, are you kidding me? And the dude's got 250 people sitting in the room viewing him, hanging on every word. And I'm thinking to myself,
right.
Do I belong in this world? You know what I mean?
You do, because the show speaks for itself. At the end of the day, when all these the pressures of how come we're not where we're supposed to be, when you get past all of that, because that comes like a peak in the valley, that kind of emotional hit where it's like, what the hell's going on? Why am I doing this? What are we doing this for? We're doing this for the reason that after we're long gone, no matter what level of success we get to, there will be generations that will, if there's still an internet, if we don't blow ourselves to kingdom come as a race, there will still be this library, and there will still be all of these wrestlers, and there will still be all of these good moments and all the hard work and the good product that we gave to people who love wrestling, and the product that we gave to people who wanted to know more about wrestlers as people. We did a lot, and we've done a lot, and we'll be doing a lot in the future. DDP is coming in. Diamond Dallas Page is coming in. It's not like we're running in. It feels like sometimes, when you get to feel the way you're telling me you feel sometimes, it feels sometimes that we're running in place.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Running with scissors would probably be the better terminology, right?
Yeah, but we're not. At the end of the day, one great name after another continues to build up. People just discovered us recently when we had Don Tony on. I'm sure they're going to check out the library and go, you know what? I'm glad I stumbled across these two goofballs from New York.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what was your old thing you always used to say to me? Because plenty of times I've called you kind of saying the same thing you were saying, and I already know what to expect. And what do you always say to me? If we even made one person happy, didn't we do enough?
Yeah. Fair enough. Just wanted to share my thoughts. Let's talk a little wrestling, buddy. Ronda Rousey on Triple H running the WWE. I think anyone's better than Vince McMahon. Ronda Rousey isn't pulling any punches when it comes to her feelings about how Vince McMahon ran the WWE while she was there. Former WWE superstar Ronda Rousey recently spoke on CBS Sports, basically say, I think anyone's better than Vince McMahon. There's only one place is to go up. I really enjoy Triple H and working with him, and honestly, I haven't been watching, but I saw something from Natty Neihart saying that they had a card recently and just as many women on it as men. What's your feelings on Ms. Rousey?
My feelings are consistent. She's just bitter as shit, and who really cares what she's got to say?
Well, again, I don't want to let you off that easy.
Really
what is she bitter about? The first run I thought was very successful. I thought she did huge things for the women's division. I mean, let's give her credit where credit is. I mean, the women's division was completely turned around by her.
I'll never take her flowers from her. She's one of the most important women wrestlers of all time. She has to be, because of when she was, who she was, when she was. She's obviously bitter about the second run.
Why is that McMahon's fault? I don't
Well,
understand.
according to her, it is because he didn't let her do the things that she wasn't booked the same way. Now I got to agree in one thing. I'm confused why Vince didn't have her come back the same way she was the first time around, as far as her booking goes. But that doesn't, mean that she didn't take the paycheck. She did take the paycheck. So shut up. You were paid insanely well, and now it's just, the timing of your book and yada yada yada.
Let's. I'm going to give you my insight on Vince McMahon so everybody kind of understands it, and tell me if you don't agree with it. By all means, give me your counterpoint. Vince is an older man. Okay, he's in his 70s. He was successful with this organization as a promoter, as a writer, everything that he's done. Okay, he was wrestling. The formula he put together worked. When you, throughout life, do things and they work successfully for a long time and you get older, right? Goes back to the terminology. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Times change. They've changed on us, Jimmy, right? I could even talk about my job, how the employee is different now than they were 25 years ago. You can't say something like, let's be honest out there, people. I mean, we want to talk about honesty here. In today's society, you can't say anything that's offensive to anybody, whether it's honest or not. Like, if this is in this time, like, me and Jimmy have a relationship. Just say in this time, Jimmy and I building a relationship, and in this time now, and I told Jimmy what I honestly felt about what he was doing on something. People can't handle that kind of conversation anymore, and it's a new regime. So when everybody's talking about what a great job Triple H is doing, well, Triple H is part of a new regime with a clearer mind. Of course it needed change, right? Today's wrestler is different. Today's wrestler wants to be coddled and loved and everything else. Vince wasn't capable of doing – he was obviously capable of showing love and caringness towards an employee. He did it throughout his entire career, or towards an independent contractor. But he's unable to give the kind of management and leadership that this type of wrestler needs now. I'll make this statement, then, Jimmy, I'm handing the ball to you. I will tell you this, just like the state of this country, the WWE is seeing great times right now. Soon the wrestler will have all the power. I am telling you now, and you will see the downsizing of the WWE, the closing of AEW. You will see, the WWE throughout its history, there's been ups and downs, right? It's like it was at its heights, and then the fans all got old, so they had to rebuild with young fans, and it's a height. You're in the heights right now. Let's be smart here. Can this new regime handle the downturn? I'm going to say no. All right, Jimmy, it's all yours, bro.
Well, first of all, everything that you said about Vince, I tend to agree with. He certainly wouldn't be capable of dealing with today's softer wrestlers, that's for sure. To use a baseball analogy, a guy like Billy Martin could never exist in today's baseball because he would be way too hard on them. So you're right about that. I do agree with you. I'm a bit of a pessimist. I think that if that does happen, no matter what the company is, no matter who the company is, if wrestlers take over, it's over. There can't be that. There can't. They've never proven it historically that wrestlers can long term for generations, the way a McMahon did it. No, I don't think that will happen.
Interesting comment out there, Jimmy. I want you to answer
this.
Bernard says Vince made money, but he never had the boom we have now. Do you agree with that comment?
No.
I don't either.
No.
And I'm assuming Bernard's younger than us, so you're right.
That's okay.
Good. Which is fine.
Even if Bernard's not, I mean, if you're from our time period and you saw the different steps in the evolution of pro wrestling, you would know what we already know. There's been two huge booms. You want to talk booms? There's been two atomic explosions in WWE and its history. And the first was the obvious with WrestleMania into Hulkamania.
Real
Into
quick,
all the
Jimmy,
things that
Bernard
happened.
says in the last
Yeah.
10 years, so he's correcting himself. Understood, Bernard. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
That's fine, but just historically, just to finish the thought, the first atomic, for lack of a better term, the first atomic bomb was Hogan, WrestleMania, and everything that came with it and followed. The second atomic bomb is obvious. It was the Attitude Era. There has been nothing like either of those eras since.
I'm
period.
gonna say this time around is equaling those booms. I do feel that way. Yeah, on a different level,
I'm not
though.
there yet.
All right, I got it, but
Yeah.
it on a different, maybe on a but there's three. You hit on the head though. There's definitely three distinctive parts of pro wrestling, and you've named the two, and I really do feel we're in that one now.
We're in a great time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in a great time period. I think we are, as far as business for pro wrestling. Absolutely, we're in a great time period. It's just appearing in a different form, I guess. I mean, if you look at back on other sports and compare different eras, some eras feel bigger than others.
But here's
let me put it this way, Mike. You're a football guy.
Yeah.
You were a hell of a football player back in high school. So let me ask you it this way: do the New England Patriots really feel the same as Montana's 49ers or Bradshaw's Steelers or Staubach's Cowboys or even Aikman's Cowboys?
That's a great question. I think they're all like standalones, but I know where you're going with this, and I get
what
it.
I'm trying to say.
I get
though.
it.
Maybe it's the time we're living in, though, which really can't be held against the product,
No,
right?
it can't. But here's the thing. How tested is TKO? How tested is Triple H and Shawn Michaels? Because the going is going to get tough.
Right.
Okay? This business, everybody.
Right.
Me and Jimmy have been around for a long time now.
Yeah.
We've seen, when people go, back in the 90s, the Garden had 2,000 people in there. Yeah, bro. Right. I was out of the military. I was there. I went and saw Ric Flair against Hulk Hogan, Madison Square Garden, in front of nobody.
Right, which is why Vince shit-canned that for WrestleMania. Right.
But
I got to tell you, though, Mike, I got to tell you this, though, to conclude my side of why I think we're going to be okay as far as our lifetime goes.
Yeah.
I do trust Triple H. I do. I cannot tell you how, I've said it before, I'm on record anyway, but I cannot tell you how happy I am that he's making those decisions and that he's got HBK down in NXT training the guys. I think it's great. I don't think that Triple H is going to fuck up terribly, not the way you're getting to, but what you're getting to, what you see, I see in the successor of Triple H, because that's when I truly get scared.
But
I have said it.
Here's the miss, I think, Jimmy.
Yeah.
It was a family-owned company.
Right.
So they understood how to get through the hard times.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it, and it's funny, we saw it in WCW, right? Time Warner was like, we're bleeding, get out, right? If this starts to falter, does TKO go, okay, cut the roster to a third and just give us programming, no more house shows, and you all of a sudden see things, instead of saying, hey, guys, weather the storm, we've been through this, wrestling cyclical, right? It does this. No. We can't afford that. Cut your roster. No house shows. Lower the pay-per-views. Blah, 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 blah. That's my question.
Dude, I'll take it a step further. What if they turn around looking at the budget and whatever and decide that they're going to replace Triple H with some bozo that wants to give, I don't know, Seth Rollins the Spartacus haircut?
Good point.
You know what I mean? God, then we will see the end, as we know it.
And, everybody's like, well, they could go to AEW. I got to feel, we discussed this, are we 5 years into AEW now? Somewhere around there?
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I do not believe that company's making any money. And there's got to be a point where Daddy's got to pull the plug, right? He's got to pull the plug.
No. It's funny. Like I told you, they feel like an expensive version of TNA. And that's almost not fair to TNA because at least TNA grew Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and, a bunch of others.
TNA's an unsound hero, man. You know what? I never gave them enough credit. I never gave them enough credit.
When they were bad, they were goddamn awful, though. There is that. They never fully captivated me, but they at least had me watching for a while on a regular basis. I can't say that about AEW. Maybe because we've seen this before. This is like WCW and TNA with a big fat wallet. A lot of the things they do remind me of what WCW did. They are always trying to take an established star and then they misbook them anyway. So,
all right, Jimmy, I don't know if you caught the YouTube special. Last Wednesday, the YouTube special Behind the Curtain, the WrestleMania 40 background. Anyway, long story short, it's just the story what made WrestleMania become WrestleMania. And one of the main focuses, obviously, was the Cody crybabies, right? And the actual changing of the main event, right? They discuss about The Rock and Roman was a done deal. They explained the history of that, how it was coming about, and then they eventually said, this is real. We're changing. I know we've been working on Cody, finishing the story, but we're calling it audible. We're bringing The Rock in. He's wrestling Roman. This was a done deal. And, of course, the stories behind that, the Cody crybabies changed that. Well,
right.
We all know who Busted Open Radio is, right? Let's give them props. Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, Mark Henry, Thunder Rosa, and their host, Dave LaGreca. LaGreca has done, let me give him his flowers first. He's done a lot for the pro wrestling world because he brought wrestling onto a forum that it never got that opportunity before. You had the Arizzis of the world that paid for radio and Vince Russo who paid for radio spots. Let's get real. This is how that happened. LaGreca had enough dream to be able to do a wrestling show, and it is the wrestling show. Dave LaGreca, he shticks it out just like a lot of people do. Sometimes like you and me, right? We shtick stuff somewhat once in a while. We're pretty honest, but we'll shtick it. But anyway, back to this, Jimmy. LaGreca was very upset with this YouTube special because they did not give him the props that he's the reason of the start of the Cody Crybabies, and that's what changed the course of WrestleMania 40, and that The Rock needs to show him the respect, and because The Rock is taking credit for this. The Rock is saying that he saw the change in the fans. He said, we got to give the fans what they want. And The Rock's taking the responsibility for it. I kind of believe The Rock. I do know LaGreca was crying about Cody Crybabies. I know he helped it become trending. I know The Rock actually did a video on him. And I think LaGreca was going to come in his pants because he couldn't believe that The Rock did a video on him. I want to get you, we never really spoke about this. You met LaGreca personally with me. What are your feelings about Dave LaGreca, what he's done for the industry, and what do you think of him as a serious radio host?
Well, you know me, I don't listen to him much. I'll never forget that day. We were. I don't even know if our show was really even going yet.
It was just starting. Yeah.
We were just about to get going, and we went to a theater presentation that Gary Michael Capetta was doing. It was in Queens, and Gary had a.
Jimmy, got to interrupt you because you know the rules. Yeah. Bernard. 10 spot. Thank you, Bernard. Want to read this. Been a fan my entire life of Vince's bookings. In the past 15 years, he's insulted my intelligence to the point where I stopped watching. Haven't been a fan for a while. I owe that to Triple H. I love it. Right?
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man. When you lose passion for something and someone brings it home for you, that's important.
Triple H has some of the old school components that are probably working splendidly for Bernard. Yeah, sure. I could see that because Triple H is not Vince McMahon. They're different, All
right, back to LaGreca. Different. Back to LaGreca, please. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. I apologize.
No, that's fine. No, and thank you. Thank you out there for that. Appreciate that. So, there was a session, part of Gary's presentation, where there's some question and answer stuff, and I can't remember what it was I asked or how I went about saying, how I said whatever I said. But after the show, this fellow walks up to me, you're standing there. He's like, who are you? He said to me. And I thought that was very bizarre. Instead of, hi, I'm so-and-so, he was like, who are you? And I said, I'm the Pharaoh from Monte and the Pharaoh. We're just getting started. And he said, then he introduced himself. I'm Dave LaGreca. I do, serious radio, blah, 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 and I remember being impressed with him. I was like, that's really cool. He gets to do for a living, right? Remember, I think I said it right then and there to you. I was like, wow, that's cool. He gets to do for a living what we would like to hopefully get to do, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I never heard boo from him again. You know, basically, you started listening to him. You know, I never heard boo from him again. And then, you know, I would start getting like, you know, did you hear him? I think he's repeating some of the shit you're saying. You know, and I tuned in one time. I'm like, wait a minute, I said that word for word last night. I'm like, what the, you know? So I was always confused by Dave LaGreca. I know for a fact he thinks we're talented. I know for a fact he thinks we have a certain something. It disappoints me that Dave LaGreca has never reached out to us to try to help two guys from New York from his own backyard. If we could be very honest here.
That's your biggest.
Know?
That's always been your biggest problem. Real quick, Jay Will says April 2024, Forbes ranked AEW the third most valuable combat sports promotion in the world, with an estimated value of $2 billion behind Ultimate Fighting Championship at $11.3 billion and the WWE at $6.8 billion. Interesting. I don't believe it, but that's okay. Forbes knows more than me. Hey, look, Forbes knows more than me. I just don't believe it. I can't imagine that company is worth that kind of money. I mean, what are the Yankees worth right now?
Oh, God, billions. I don't have any idea.
But, so you're saying AEW's $2 billion? The Yankees are worth, what, $100 billion? I don't know.
Who knows? Gazillion.
So good point there. LaGreca, I agree with you. LaGreca, like, how do I do this? How do I say this? LaGreca obviously brings on Bully Ray, right? Makes sense. Brings on Mark Henry. Makes sense. Okay.
Of course.
Wait a minute. No, you know what? Hold on. Let me check that. Brings on Bully Ray. Makes sense. Brings on Mark Henry. No, doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Mark Henry has no right being on the radio. He's terrible. Okay. Brings on Tommy Dreamer. Sorry. Again.
I get you.
No right. Okay. Right. Brings on Thunder Rosa.
Oh, no.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
And then, and then they have a weekend spot, right? And there's look, to be honest with you, there's Don Tony, there's other people. He brings on this girl, Denise Salcedo, okay? Now, the girl's got tons of followers on YouTube, tons, right? My wife, I have Fight on my Sirius radio in the car. I have the Fight channel on. And on the weekends, that's all they play is just the reruns of these wrestling programs. And Salcedo does the weekends. And my wife, and again, this is someone that doesn't know anything. She goes, can you turn this off? This girl is awful. And I said to her, and again, I'm sorry for Maria and some of the other females in the room, I said, she's not even good looking. And my wife's like, what does that have to do with anything? And I said, well, I don't understand it. Like, look, I'll be honest with you, right? I've had communication with LaGreca, right? He's asked me to call the show, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Instead of putting these famous people on, why wouldn't you give an opportunity to a show like this who has this huge library where you could take our canned shows and put them on there on the weekend during, midnight? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know a lot of people have this dream of getting called by Sirius XM and Busted Open Radio, but the problem I have is going to the back of the beginning of the show is either I think we're better than we really are, which maybe I am, and that's why I love people, they'll tell you, or I don't know what's going on. I'm serious, and it's troublesome to me. It's troublesome.
Yeah. What's more troublesome is that, the only thing I would ask LaGreca to ponder is to remember what that kid from Long Island did, that kid Howard Stern. Had you ever heard of Baba Booey or Robin before Howard's fame? No. Had you ever heard of Jackie the Joke Man the way the nation knows him now? No, not really. Howard Stern had the foresight to bring people along that he saw had talent, that they didn't have to be a legendary figure in the business to complement his shtick. We're a shtick too, and we're a damn good shtick.
Here's the one thing I enjoy.
So I believe, Mike, just to finish my thought, I believe that if he partnered up with us on the radio, we would have killer ratings, and he wouldn't miss a fucking beat.
Well, this is what made me feel good about it, Jimmy, because in his world, he's the Rock. In our world, he's the Rock, and we're him. He's now The Rock looks at him like he does us.
Right.
And now he's all upset because he just got
right.
Bye-bye. Get out.
Well, shit happens.
Listen, when you're in the catbird seat, you have all the rights. My only point is this. It's like I just don't understand the non-talent out there. Dude, again, I don't want to talk much about it, but I got to just say it. When I see a guy like Lee Cole doing a YouTube channel on wrestling, he doesn't even watch it, and, 200 people come to listen to him because his claim to fame is a brother who claims that he was sexually harassed, not even raped or anything else, not that, he has one or the other. A brother you didn't talk to, and all he does is go in with the same story and the same lies. I mean, if you're a listener to this guy, he's been promising that Vince McMahon was going to be behind bars about a year ago. It still hasn't happened. You know why? Because it's not going to happen. It's like, wake up. And but still people go in, oh, Lee, I believe you. I believe you. Because people want something, like people want to see, forget it. Forget it. I'm not going there.
You're right, though, and to enhance your point, not only do I not watch his stuff because of what you just said, there's nothing to learn or gain. That's truly running in motion, by the way. What he does every week. That's running in just not moving. All right. As far as subject matter, as far as what, you're going to get out of it. It's the same shit every week.
Right.
All right. But I have found I won't pay any attention to. After we had Bob Cook on, you ever look at his Facebook posts? He's way more engaging. I find his Facebook.
I agree.
Bob Cook is entertaining. I'm like, you know what? This is great. I love it. So I would rather look at his Facebook posts. They're way more entertaining than the same. Let me throw shit against the wall and see if it sticks.
Well, it goes back to what Don Tony was saying. Clickbait. Nice thumbnails. Right. Nice thumbnails. Again, listen, dude, I can make thumbnails too. I can make really fancy, dancy videos. And guess what, man? You know what?
Right.
I'm sorry, I got a real life job. My focus has to be on my real life job because guess what? Monte and the Pharaoh are not going to pay my bills. So eventually, when Monte and the Pharaoh can pay my bills, then guess what? You'll have the best thumbnails you've ever seen in your life. Right? It's like I'm sorry. I don't have a fucking 2-ton whale fucking paying my bills for me. Did I just say that? Oops.
Oh, my God. Hey, at least it didn't work for fucking Shut-Eye the Sailor. I mean, my God. You know what I'm saying? It could be worse. It could be worse.
All right, let's get – go ahead. Go hammer it home.
One more thing, though, about throwing shit against the wall. Did you know that there's a Grateful Dead fan page out there that has a billion followers on it, right? They put a picture up. This is Jerry Garcia's last concert. Bro, it's a photo of him in 1975. The guy died in 95. And they have thousands of people that go to their page. I'm like, do you realize what kind of shit's being thrown against the wall here?
Bro, wait a minute. Now that you just brought that up, I got to bring it. So Sunday, me and the wife went to go see Son of Skynyrd, I think was the name of the band, right?
Oh, they sounded great, by the way.
Well, Jimmy was on doing the show, The Baseball Bums. And guys, I'm telling you right now, it's a new show. It's Jimmy and Benny. They're talking baseball. It's a great show. Sunday at 8 o'clock, so it's your home before work. I'm telling you, must listen. They did one show, and I said to Benny and Jimmy, you got to keep doing it. It's going to catch fire. It's really good. But anyway, I'm at this concert, and Son of Skynyrd's on, and Benny and Jimmy are about to go on. So I'm letting them listen to the concert a little bit.
Yeah.
But the funny point about it, they were very good, by the way. But the funny thing about it, that you mentioned Garcia, is there's people at this concert in the state park wearing their Skynyrd shirt, and I'm like, dude, my God, losers. Wrestling isn't the only place with losers.
I saw your exchange with Donna today on Facebook, and Donna was like, I'm wearing a Leonard Skinner concert shirt for a Leonard Skinner tribute band. And she's like, losers. I was like, oh, my God. I was dying. I was like, wow. And then I realized something really pathetic, Mike. You ready?
Yeah.
That could have very well been me.
Oh man, dude, I would have ripped that shirt off you. I don't know, like, do not wear a Skynyrd shirt, dude. It was like, Dude, they at the end, they're like, what song y'all want to hear? And everybody's like, Free Bird. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Did you
stop it.
yell Smoke on the Water?
Yes, I did.
Idiot. That's great. That is great.
All right,
they
listen.
sounded great, though, Mike. They really did. They sounded great.
Hot topic. And by the way,
Yeah.
stay tuned in 9 o'clock. We got the great Brian Blair coming on. Hot topic. Rhea Ripley is back, and she makes Liv. Does this make the Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley storyline the main event for SummerSlam?
Could be, right? It could be. I don't know if it will be.
That's a pretty non-committal answer there, Jimmy.
It could be, but we don't know what's happening with Punk. Like, if I know for sure what's happening with Punk, you're not going to tell me any other name's going to be higher up on the card than whatever Punk's involved in, unless you want to pull the old technical championship match shit. You know, I mean, Punk's going to probably be the biggest draw if he's involved in a match of some kind. I'm thinking he's going to be top of the card.
So the Punk McIntyre storyline is, for you as a fan, is better than the Liv Morgan, Dom, Rhea Ripley.
It's really good, Liv Morgan,
triangle.
though. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm loving that. And, I'm not the first one to go women's wrestling rules either. That's been great. I've enjoyed the shit out of that.
So let me challenge you with this then. We all know the Wyatt Six, right? I'm really not digging that name anymore, by the way. A picture was put out with the Wyatt Six with a kid from Whataburger. And it was a big deal, right? Because it was right after the WWE spent all this money and whatever. Yeah. And let me throw in the fact that while Rhea was injured, she married Buddy Murphy.
Okay.
And months before that, Dominic Mysterio got married. So my first question is this, and then we'll talk about the main subject. But this is a very serious question. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Wrestling. Again, I understand it's real life, but I'm trying to explain this the right way. We all know that Buddy Murphy used to date Alexa Bliss. And he asked Alexa Bliss to marry him, and then she eventually gave the ring back, from what I understand. All relationships break up. But how does it feel? Like, if Alexa comes back to the WWE, and now Rhea's the wife of Buddy Murphy, is there, like, hatred there in real life? Because it's like, he wasn't good enough for you, but he's good enough for me. You get what I'm saying? Like, how do you get past that? Like, I'm thinking to myself, I can't get past
that. Some people can't get past that, and some people move the fuck on. I could tell you. Some people have the ability, no matter what the fuck's going on, to move the fuck on. And I'm going to continue to study that trait, because that's something I want more of.
Gotcha.
To be able to move the fuck on.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, if I'm Alexa Bliss, to be honest, she may very well have those feelings, right? If I were her, I'd walk into that locker room, take one look at Rhea, and I know you think Rhea is hot, et cetera, and then I would walk over to the mirror and look at myself, and I'd go, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Move on. Move the fuck on.
But you think in back of Alexis Bliss is like, I married Ryan Cabrera. I don't even know what I was doing with Buddy Murphy. And by the way, Buddy Murphy's a stocked beast, good-looking guy. Yeah. He's not a bad-looking guy.
No, not at all.
And Rhea Ripley, like I said, is a gorgeous lady. Gorgeous.
I mean, do you stop to think for a second how Buddy Murphy might feel about it?
Yeah, good point.
I mean, come on, he's a person too. Maybe he's squirming about it, like, oh my god, don't hit her, Rhea, don't. We don't know how Rhea's looking at it. Rhea could be very well, even though she's the one that got Buddy in the end, maybe she could be the one who would be like, I don't want this tramp in the locker room. Well, we don't know.
And that's what I'm talking about, legitimate heat. Like, is there a point like Rhea's like, I'm the main star here, I don't want this bitch back. Don't take her back.
It's possible, but I don't see this is where Triple H probably would be like, let's go have a talk about this. Calm the fuck down.
Or is Triple H the guy that's like, well, I really don't want to fight with the talent and lay down the law, so let me just say, okay, Rhea, and not bring her back.
He doesn't strike me that way. He doesn't. I mean, if you're asking me my opinion on Triple H, the man, I don't know him, obviously, but he doesn't strike me like that. I think that he learned enough from his father-in-law about the cash register side of things I don't think that he would just dismiss Alexa Bliss, who is worth something to that company. I don't think he would. I'd be very surprised if he did something like that.
So my next question is, now you got this great storyline, Liv Morgan, Wyatt Six, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and they're all really putting their real life out there on social media. And I understand it's a different time. Yeah. But do you think it's a point where wrestlers need to be a little more kayfabe, like The Undertaker? That guy lived the gimmick, or is that too much?
I wish they would. You know, I know that the old school wrestlers probably secretly wish they would if they don't tell them to their face when they cross paths with them at events or whatever. I wish they would. I think that it would only help wrestling if they went back to that sort of thing. Do they have the right to interact? Sure they do. Have a private party. Have it at one of your mansions, because let's face it, the wrestlers today that are working in WWE are wealthy. Have a private party. Have it in your backyard. Tell everybody to put their cell phones in a basket. Let's all go have fun. You want to do that? That could still be done.
Does it ruin it for you as a wrestling fan? Like when you're watching Liv straddle Dom, you're like, forget it. You know, he's married. This is stupid. Or when you see Rhea come out and get mad at Dom, you're like, she just got married. This is so stupid.
No, it doesn't ruin it for me because I'm well past the day that they tore the curtain down. It's just, this is what we live in today. Do I like it? No. But does it ruin it?
Are you trying to tell me in your back of your mind, especially in the Attitude Era, there was like, is something real here? Is there some real stuff going on here? Like that used to happen to me a lot, Jimmy. And I want that to happen again. But when you do this, it's like, forget it.
Yeah. Look, they're saying mean things to each other on tweets. I mean, what are we talking here? More than once we've discussed it, whatever the headline might be for that week. Sometimes it involves so-and-so tweeted this about so-and-so. I mean, I'm numb to it, okay? I'm basically numb to it. Like you asked me a few weeks back, what do you think of the female referees? It ruins it for me. Or
right, sure. Right, I wasn't happy with it. Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. I don't care, because at the end of the day, even with all these changes, it's going to take a lot for me to go, okay, that's enough. I don't know what that would be, but, have they done it in the past? Yeah, they did a couple of times with me. Like when Triple H jumped into the casket with Katie Vick. Yeah, that kind of put me on hold for a little bit. I will admit, maybe it's my own, dislike of the character, but when I saw John Cena first show up being Vanilla Ice on steroids, I hated that shit.
Yeah, but I hated it. Don't forget something, though. Like, you just brought up Cena. I love the way I don't know how you do this, but you just roll right into it. Cena was hitting a lot of the females back then. And when I mean hitting, having sex with them. Sure. And if you screwed around with his girls and pissed him off, he sent you to, the frosty land of nowhere. Get him out of here. And Vince would say, get out. Yep. John wants you out, right?
Right.
How, as a wrestler, and we're almost out of time because we got to queue up for 9 o'clock for B. Brian Blair, but how, as a wrestler, look, let me put it this way. Paige comes back to the WWE. She's dating a rocker now, so it's different, and it's removed. But say she came back and started dating, I don't know, fucking Carlito. All right? Carlito.
Okay.
And Carlito falls madly in love with her.
All right.
And then he, starts getting kind of pushed a little bit. And he sees the videos, which he already knows about, of all these guys that are still with the organization banging the shit out of her. How do you get past it, dude?
You don't. What, like she runs off with Santos Escobar? Is that what you get?
No, but what I'm saying is, like, how do you build a serious relationship knowing that, the New Day pulled a train on her on video that everybody saw?
Right. I don't know.
Are these weird thoughts in my head? Are they?
No, they're perfectly abnormal normal. Tell you the truth, I don't, I wouldn't be approaching her to date her. Okay. If I was one of those wrestlers, I would certainly not be approaching her to look for a relationship, because there's been some rocky hills on those mountaintops there. No thanks, man. I'd be staying far away from that, just honestly.
You know,
Why'd you get
I
yourself
don't know.
involved?
We're a
Yeah.
long way from the wrestlers that we talked about that either got high and dropped dead and got brought back to life by a couple of paddles and then did it again. Today's wrestlers play video games and screw each other on video. It's just it's a whole nother planet, dude.
A weird time we live in. I mean, we got a guy in the White House can't form sentences. What are you going to do?
With that, send us out. I want everybody to remind everybody, just in 15 minutes, we got the great legend B. Brian Blair on. I'm very excited for this as we continue the march on to try to get something done around here. Jimmy?
And on that note, you've been watching This Week in Wrestling. We will see you in a few moments with Brian Blair. Later.